Hey everyone, how are you? Nate Strager here with LrS&x International. Today we're going to talk about how to achieve financial stability in 2023. I actually have a really good friend of mine here. His name is Jaime Gomez.
Hey.
He's the founder of Signal Fire, and for those of you that don't know, everybody's like, "Oh, you're super successful, Nate," etc. Yes, and one of the big reasons for that is Jaime. Jaime actually really helped me in turning me on to books, talking me off the ledge. I do real estate full time, but I also have invested in other businesses that struggled a lot in the first few years. And Jaime was a huge part of that, of why I didn't quit, why I didn't sell, really, helped me out, put me in the right direction. So I thought Jaime would be perfect to talk about how to achieve financial stability in 2023. So good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here.
Glad
I know
to be here.
you're a super talkative guy, so I appreciate you being here. How many years have you been in business with Signal Fire?
So Signal Fire, 16 years.
Wow, long time.
Yeah.
And how did you start Signal Fire and why?
So I started the company out of my garage 16 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And I worked for a large company that subcontracted their work.
Okay.
And I just felt that, I could do a better job. And a coworker, we partnered at the time and started the company.
Okay. So starting from your garage, did you quit the company you were working for and just start cold turkey with a new company?
Yes, which was probably a mistake. We probably should have maybe planned that out a little better. But we did, after quitting, we did talk to the company and they did start giving us work. So that company was a big part of our journey. So I'm very appreciative of that company that helped us out over the years.
And did you just feel like the company or the industry that you were in, and so Signal Fire is a
commercial fire alarm company, construction, service, inspections.
Perfect. So in the company that you were working for in the industry, did you feel like it could just be done better and that's why you started your company, or was it just more financial freedom for the long term?
I think it was both. I think I was a technician at the time.
Okay.
And I saw what the company that was doing the work was doing, and I just, me and the coworker, we just thought we could do better. So it was something exciting.
And did you always have that business head while you're working for another company, or did you have to learn on the fly?
I think I kind of fell into it, but I think one thing that helped me out is that I'm always up for a challenge. So I always jump into things.
Okay.
Without really feeling like I'm fully ready.
Okay.
But that's, I think, how you learn. Putting
Okay.
yourself in uncomfortable situations and, always kind of being up for the challenge.
Okay. So one thing I tell people, I think in today's day and age, I think everybody wants to be more of an entrepreneur. A lot less people want to do a 9-to-5. And I applaud that. I support that, right? But you also have to understand, and I think it's more beneficial. It's stressful, as we know, being business owners, but either you want to work so many hours helping somebody else build their dream, or you're going to work massive hours building your dream, right? And so where do you want to be in life? Because we only have one of them. So I think it's important that if you're going to put your time and your energy into something, it might as well be for you to be financially secure for the future. And so how were you able to make Signal Fire financially successful from going to a garage to now owning real estate of Signal Fire? Because you bought a building that I actually sold them about 10 years ago. So how'd you go from a garage to buying a commercial building and having this successful company?
So it's a 16-year journey. So throughout the 16 years, we had a lot of struggles as well.
Okay.
So I think it's, I think a lot of it has to do with grit.
Okay.
And tenacity is a big part of it. Just being mentally strong, and knowing how to push forward, taking things to the finish line, not giving up. Sometimes in business, and not just business, in life, it can be hard. So just knowing how to keep pushing forward is huge.
And what were some of the biggest struggles that you had with Signal Fire?
Sure. So after the housing market crash back in 2008, we're only in business about 2 years at the time.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a reality check.
Yeah. So work dried up. We didn't have a lot of recurring revenue. A lot of our work was construction based. So that we realized was really important, that we needed recurring revenue.
Right.
But at the time we didn't have it. So work dried up. The only work that was out there was prevailing wage. Prevailing wage is you have to pay a lot of, the hourly is really high, and we didn't know what we were doing. So we took on some projects, lost a lot of money, and in hindsight, that struggle was probably one of the best things that happened to us, because it really lit the fire under me to start reading books, And to answer the question, I think the number one thing is education. So as you develop, learn to develop yourself, learn to develop your team, I think it's what's gonna, change things.
And was it prevailing wages with government contracts?
Yeah.
So those of you that don't know, when you get a government contract, you have to pay an absorbent amount of wage to your employees that's required for you to get that government contract. So the government will give you that contract, but instead of paying your employees, I'm just going to throw out a number, $20 an hour, you have to pay $50 an hour.
Yeah.
And you don't get paid on that contract until after the job is done. It could be 30, 60, or even 90 days. So as a business owner, you're coming out to, twice as much or 2.5 times as much as what you would normally pay. And then you're not recouping that until months later, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we didn't know what we were doing. And just like anything, in the beginning, it takes time to get good at something. Right. So the work dried up. The only thing that was out there was prevailing wage. We took on some projects, underbid them. And I remember at our Christmas party, having to look at everybody.
Right.
And, tell everybody that I think everybody did a great job, but there's no raises. And I have to personally invest more money into the company to keep the doors open.
Right.
So very hard time, but it really motivated me to not be a tech.
Right.
Being a technician, being a business owner, two different things. So that's what, went on Amazon and got the top 10 best-selling business books, read those, and just kind of started my journey to really learn how to be a business owner.
And I think it was you that told me this, and I've actually learned so much from you, that you can be the best plumber in the world, but if you don't, and you're going to go, you think, oh, I'm the best plumber, et cetera, and I'm going to go open my own business. But there's a difference between being the best plumber in the world and running a business.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's opposite ends of the spectrum, right? And so what other struggles can you think of other than prevailing wages that you had to go through? Because I remember you telling me, man, I was up till 1 a.m. pacing back and forth. And,
I had a lot of those. Yeah.
So what attributed to those late nights and pacing back and forth?
There's many things. But one thing I wanted to mention about what we're just talking about is there's a book, E-Myths Revisited.
Okay.
And I just happened to stumble across that book, but it was a game changer for me to start systematizing the business and get out of being a technician.
Okay.
So that was a great book that really changed the trajectory of the company. Some of the other challenges that I had over the years is it's really important to build the right team. So what I noticed is that when you're building a team, if I have to personally get into the weeds and do the job for them, they're probably not the right person for that role.
Right.
And I also know what it feels like to have the right support.
Right.
When you have someone that's on top of things, and so I really try to hire people that know more than I do about different parts of the company. That way I know that I don't have to get into the weeds, and I know that they got it. So,
right. Why try and reinvent the wheel in that portion of your business when you have somebody that already knows? You don't have to micromanage them, because as we know, time is probably one of the most precious things in running a business. You can't be looking over everybody's shoulder. And if you do, then that's not the right person for the job.
Yeah, when you have the right support, I mean, it's huge. It's a game changer. So I think in the past, I would kind of try to keep trying to change people to kind of adapt to our values.
Okay.
And, figuring out what your values are, by the way, is like, for us was very important. Knowing what our values are and building a team that also has those values, that are aligned with those values. And it's huge. When everybody's going in the same direction and everybody's aligned to those values, it's a game changer for the business.
So what are some of your core values for business?
Well, our top core value was service excellence. So I cared a lot about service excellence, and what I realized is that if I hired and just kind of built a team, just a random team, it doesn't work.
Right.
You have to let everybody know that one of the company core values is service excellence, and then as that resonates with certain people, they want to join your team.
Right.
Because they care about that as well.
Right.
And the only way you're going to build a company that provides service excellence is by having a team of people that really care about that.
So you talked about reading books. What are some of the books that you would recommend as far as helping someone, whether it's in business or just somebody that's thinking about being an entrepreneur? What are some of the books that really helped you? What are some of the books that you feel are really important for people to learn? Because as you talked about, it's education, right? You jumped into this business maybe a little too soon and didn't have that experience, and you just kind of jumped on Amazon and just started searching, so that people don't have to guess and waste time reading not the wrong books, but maybe you can give them more of a definitive direction. What are some of the most important, like your top 5 most important books that really helped you?
Top 5, huh? There's so many, man. I think that for me, what's important is that what I realize is that if I just read a book just to read it, I'm not excited about it, and I'm probably not going to finish it.
Okay.
But if I'm struggling with something in life, it doesn't have to be just business, personal, or my daughter. I have a 10-year-old daughter. There's a time that I wanted to be a better parent. Mm-hmm. So one of my mentors, Tom, he recommended parent effectiveness training.
Okay.
And that, I believe, helped me a lot. So as I was reading that book, I was very excited to finish that book, and helped me out a lot. So yeah, I just think it depends on where you're struggling.
Okay.
And there's great books on different parts of life.
Okay. Is there, because I know you turned me on to Traction, you turned me on to there's 2 more that it really helped me in being an entrepreneur, because I have multiple businesses, and those books really helped me. And like you said, there's books for different parts of your life, but for financial stability, to help someone get out of the grind of just working and paying the bills, is there a book that would help in financial stability?
Yeah, so maybe I'll go over my favorite books.
Okay.
And I think it's all connected.
Okay.
So one of my mentors, I've never met him, but Stephen Covey. So that's one of the first books that I read, and the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Okay.
And it was very interesting to me to read that book and kind of hear about principles and universal principles, and that really helped me build my company off of principles. So principles being timeless and universal. So a lot of our core values, in my opinion, I didn't want just generic core values. I wanted core values that I really felt had a lot of depth to them. And, I feel that they were very solid. So I'm not sure, if that makes sense.
No, it does, 100%. I think core values, no matter what business you're in, whether you're a high-level exec or you're running Coca-Cola, or you're running a smaller company, or you're just starting, are extremely important. And I think it goes hand in hand no matter what level you're on.
Yeah, so I kind of think as you read, you kind of figure out who you kind of connect with. So like Ray Dalio, I consider his work amazing. I consider him another mentor. He also talks a lot about principles, and it's just amazing what he built over the years. and the way that he runs his company. So just to maybe get a little more into the weeds, there is what I learned from Ray Dalio is like he's big on transparency. So in his company, everything's recorded. People are learning. So as people are having meetings, people are like rating the meetings so that people are constantly getting feedback in real time.
Right.
And it just amazing what he was able to come up with and build over the years.
It's a great idea. It really is. So moving into 2023, I can't believe it's 2023 already, which is nuts because it seems like yesterday we just hit 2022. What type of investments do you think people should make to start to become more financially stable? Is it housing? Is it buying a business? Is it crypto? Is it the stock market? And as a successful businessman, because you are extremely successful and extremely knowledgeable, where do you invest your money and why?
So they say that, the time to make money is in a down economy.
Yes.
The problem is that a lot of times in a down economy, people don't have the money to invest.
Yes.
So yeah, my personal strategy is to kind of hold off a little bit. And, as I see dips, I kind of get in a little bit. But I do think that, the economy is a cycle. It's got its ups and downs. I think the economy's been hot for a long time. There's been a lot of money printing, a lot of money pumped into the economy. But there's going to be quantitative tightening coming up.
Okay.
So there's going to be money taken out of the economy. So
Okay.
as that happens, in my opinion, there'll be effects on that. Same with interest rates going up. I think it's kind of like a wave. I think it takes time for people to see the results of the actions that are currently taking place.
So I know we've had this conversation recently where this is my thought. I have family members and friends or, older friends that have worked a 9-to-5 for 20, 30, 40 years and they pay into their retirement, but then they go to retire and they have to live in senior housing, where it's, low income senior housing, and they can't keep up with the inflation or the cost of living because the money that they're putting in year over year, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, isn't going to help them today.
Sure.
Or tomorrow, right? So I think that's a huge problem. So if you could take, Jaime back to 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and start investing so that you were financially secure other than your business, what would you invest in? Again, would it be, housing, buying a business, crypto, something like that, Because I remember when Bitcoin came out, it was like 0.2 cents for a stock. But what would you invest in?
I think having a diversified portfolio for sure is important, but something that's helped me out over the years, and is real estate. I really believe in it. As rents are coming in, the value of it to help inflation, the value of it goes up as well. So,
right.
The key is just trying to kind of get in the right time.
Do you feel that these new investments like crypto or NFTs, do you feel like they're the future, or do you feel like it's not?
I do. I believe in, not sure if you're familiar with Ethereum.
Yep.
I really do believe in that project. Personally, I don't really believe in Bitcoin,
Right.
but I do believe in the Ethereum project. I think there's a lot, the ecosystem continues to grow, and I think it is going to be a game changer. So
Okay.
I think they're working on figuring out how to fix their scalability, but it's pretty amazing what, thousands of developers all over the world are working together. I mean, the cause is, they have a great purpose, so I think it's amazing what they're doing. And I think, 10 years from now, I think a lot more people will know what Ethereum is.
And in listening to you and in knowing you for so many years, and in just talking to you right now, I think the biggest thing to help people be financially secure is education and doing your research and the grind and really putting your head in there and not just working the business, but educating yourself on how to be better in business. And if you have employees or you have a partner, educating yourself on how to deal with people and have policies and procedures and things like that. So one thing I've known you for a long time, but just listening to you right now is just always education. Do your research, and you're talking about Ethereum as opposed to Bitcoin. The difference is Ethereum is X, Y, and Z, and that's why I believe in it. It's doing the education process and learning more about that company to believe in it, to keep investing in it. So in saying that, where do you see the economy in 2023? Do you see inflation continue to go? Do you feel like it's going to boom somewhere second half or first first quarter? Or like, if you had a crystal ball, where do you see it going in 2023?
Sure. And, nobody knows exactly what's going to happen. The Fed can shift on their monetary policy.
Yeah.
But as of now, they're fighting inflation, as you know.
Yeah.
And I do think that there'll be a dip in 23, in my opinion.
A dip in jobs or housing or business or all?
Good question. I think that we will be in a recession in 2023.
Okay.
Up till the end, maybe beginning of 2024, maybe even longer. But it's just a cycle. It's the market does need to cool off. I mean, it's so hot. I mean, you've seen, in real estate, right? You've seen how high in the last few years, how high it's gone up just in the last couple of years. Probably,
yeah. It's been insane. And we were just talking about it because when COVID hit and everything shut down, I thought things were going to drop to the floor. I'm like, here's another 07, 08. Things are going to drop to the floor. This is unprecedented. But then things doubled or even tripled in some areas. And I think that was, again, we just don't know. We don't know what the Fed's going to do, to offset or try and help the economy so it doesn't tank, right? But now we're in a different situation.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what happened. So what you thought, that's what I thought, right?
Right.
And that's what the government thought. So, the government, in hindsight, the government overreacted and, dumped in maybe a little too much money into the economy. And now we're kind of paying the price for it, right? Now we're seeing inflation, and they're trying to fix that now. So,
because like you said, it's really easy to print money,
yeah,
and they're just pumping it in. And one of the questions I was going to ask you a little later, but I'll touch on it now because I feel like people are watching, buying that Louis Vuitton bag and buying that Rolex and trying to buy the high-end car when you really should be, you're going to be able to do that later. But it's really important to invest into financial stability now so that you can have those perks later and go to that Cancun vacation or whatever it is, right? But you really have to, like you said, start in the garage, educate yourself, in whatever direction you want to be, whether you want to be Instagram fame or you actually want to start a business or you want to have a franchise or whatever that case may be, right? It's all about investing in yourself, the education to become financially stable for later, so you're able to do that. So do you feel like there's more entrepreneurs now trying to become more financially stable than there were 10 years ago?
I think that it's always been a struggle, I think, for all of us to discipline ourselves, to not get caught up in that game, right? To really, the wealthy people, they know, right? They a lot of their money goes into assets, things that put money into their pockets. And yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of people out there that are, spending their money on liabilities.
Right.
And instead of having money to invest, they have a lot of really nice things, but.
Exactly. So instead of buying that watch that you can't afford on a credit card and making that payment every month, you could be making that payment into a duplex or something that's actually going to give you liquidity moving forward. I know you have multiple investments that you bought years ago, right? Yeah. I think you invested in a bunch of condos, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and I won't say what you bought them for, but I remember you telling me, and I'm like, whoa, that was so smart, because I think you bought in the down market, right?
Yeah.
You bought in the down market, and so I try and explain to everybody, look, no millionaire bought at the height of the market. When the market is on fire, they're not buying condos at $400,000. you're buying, you want that condo at that 50, 80, 100, 120, whatever it is, because as time goes on, your tenants are paying it down. You're benefiting from that equity. You're benefiting from, long term. And like you said, you have a 10-year-old daughter. She's going to benefit, right? So you're setting up for financial stability moving forward.
So just to kind of add to that, man, is what I tried to do is to not go off of my emotions, right? So when the economy tanked back in 2008, part of me kept thinking, well, it's going to go lower. Well, right now may not be a good time to buy. But I had to push myself to do the opposite of what I wanted to do,
right.
What I felt needed to do, right? So I did pick up properties at the low time, and vice versa. I think at the height of the market, I decided to hold off. So as you know, I exited my company 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And instead of going all in there, I decided to kind of felt that I needed to wait. And as the market's been going down, I've been slowly investing.
So, and you had your company how many years before you exited?
16 years.
So 16 years of grinding and education and just day-to-day and improving processes and procedures, and I was going to say this after, but congratulations on exiting.
Yeah, thank you.
Because that creates financial freedom, right? Where you're not working at 65 years old as a server at a buffet, which there's nothing wrong with that, but you do want to create that financial freedom. And to take that step, and I know we had this conversation, should I sell? Should I continue? Whatnot? But, putting in that grind for 16 years and then selling gives you more time. And within that time, you were able to invest in multiple properties and et cetera, to have multiple revenue streams coming in. And I think you're so smart. And even looking at Ethereum, you create these different revenue streams so that when you do retire, you can retire without worry. If something happens, you don't have to worry, I don't have enough money in the bank to pay for this surgery or to pay for whatnot. Because, as a entrepreneur, our employer doesn't give us health benefits, right? We have to pay for our own health benefits. So I think that's super smart in the process and educating and continuing to invest and having multiple streams of revenue. So thank you so much for being here. And I think the overall consensus of what we were talking about was, don't buy that super nice car that you can't afford, or don't overextend yourself. Put that money in those payments into something that's going to give you a return for financial stability moving forward. I mean, do you agree?
Sure. A couple points that I wanted to just point out. One is that just like in business, it's important to figure out what core values you want for your company. Personal for yourself, you really need to know what your core values are for yourself, right? And one of my values, for example, is freedom. So when it comes to like where I invest, that reminds me of what my value is, right? So I want freedom to, take vacation, spend time with my daughter. I value that a lot. So as I'm deciding kind of what to do, it's kind of my North Star. It helps me stay disciplined on what I want to do. Hey, is buying that, is that going to help me align to my value, right? So it helps me make decisions. It's my foundation, The other thing that I wanted to mention that is super helpful over the years is asking for help. A lot of people are out there struggling, doing it on their own, and there's help out there. There's other people that have one thing that helped me out significantly is mentors that I've had over the years. And I think people out there will be surprised that people enjoy helping others out, right? People that have been there, done that. If there's something that I want to do in my business, I kind of look at who I know, and whoever I feel has been there, done that, and I really admire the work that they did, I'll go to them and ask them like, hey, I'd really love to learn how you did that. And 9 times out of 10, they're happy to. So just don't be afraid to ask for help. And, the grind, it's real, man.
It is. I had this guy in my building multiple times, and he broke out a marker and a whiteboard, and we went through things, and I almost had to sell one of my businesses multiple times, and without him, I probably would have had to. I think you know that. So I agree with you. And I think we talked about this, is about surrounding yourself with people that are more successful than you to learn from. Because if you're the smartest guy in the room, you're really not going to get there as fast. If somebody's already invented the wheel, it's the old adage, right? Then why try and reinvent the wheel? So,
just to add to that, man, one of our company core values was no ego. So that just has helped us out significantly over the years, right? So as a company, no ego. It doesn't matter who comes up with the idea, whatever the best idea is, let's get that implemented. Absolutely. Let's talk to people that know more than we do. So that's a principle, I think, that has been huge for us.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, happy to.
You're one of the most successful guys I know, and in putting it all on the table, whether it's real estate investments or building your business and exiting or looking into Ethereum or whatnot, I think it goes to show and put everything into perspective on how far you really come from starting in a garage. So being able to build that financial freedom takes time, and it's not instant, So thank you so much. I really appreciate you as a friend, as a mentor, for this interview, and hopefully your knowledge helps somebody else that's trying to start out of their garage or start out of their home. So for more tips, content, follow, like, share, and we'll have more for you later.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
All right, thank you.